Today we're going to be talking about. I'm very much.
I didn't see you there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this isn't going to be the start.
No.
So I'm just like.
But I'm a big fan of the people are having a conversation and you just come in at some point and it feels a lot more natural than just going. Yeah. Okay, let's do this.
I mean, this might be the first, but also might be the last time that we do this. You know, so we'll just see how it goes. I guess.
We'll see in post. We're just all sitting there just like, this is the worst idea ever.
I thought rather than like going straight into just news about everything, we could like just have an icebreaker thing where it's like each person says what their favourite like geek media
Do you know why?
is.
This is because you've had so many interviews recently.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Hi, my name is.
Waj, why don't you start?
Oh God, thanks.
Favourite geek media: film, television, game, comic book, novel, anything you want. What's like your?
Do we all have to be completely different now? Because we can't all say, "Oh, I love the PlayStation."
No, you don't.
I love streaming and Uncharted.
I mean, you could say Roald Dahl if you wanted to. You know, that's geeky.
Is that geeky?
Yeah, I think it's geeky.
Is it?
It's verging on geeky/nerdy.
See, well,
I mean, how many different versions of Roald Dahl books have you got?
That's just because it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the point, isn't it? That's a really good thing that you like. I'm not saying it's your favourite thing. It doesn't have to be your favourite thing. There's something.
I think that's kind of the definition of that boils down to the definition of geek and nerd. Like you can be passionate about something, but then geek and nerddom has kind of been like linked to comics or games or things like that.
Yeah.
I suppose literature as a whole. Like yes, you can be a Jane Austen nerd or whatever, but then that's not. Doesn't necessarily make you a nerd.
I think that if you were... Well, if anyone who knew
Sorry, I kind of forced the Roald Dahl thing.
You must like Roald Dahl.
Force Roald Dahl and everyone else.
Well, no. BFG then. That was a film we watched recently.
That was good.
Is that any good actually?
It's really good.
Because I never the books I read of Roald Dahl growing up were obviously Chocolate Factory.
Matilda.
Didn't read Matilda. The Witches. The Twits, is it?
Yeah.
And
James the Giant Peach.
Yes, thank you.
I'm just looking at the now which one.
So a lot of his other stuff I didn't really get into. So when I saw the trailer for the BFG, I wasn't really that enamoured by it.
Because you didn't grow up.
Yeah.
That.
And I heard reviews saying that it was okay, but not Spielberg at his best. But then Spielberg at 50% is still going to be a lot better than.
Yeah. That's I think that's the point there. That he it's not Spielberg at his best. It's not a Hook or it's not an E.T. But it is still really a good film.
It's not like a summer blockbuster that they're trying to make it out because they're putting with like this is the biggest movie. This is the giant.
It felt. Even though it's set in Britain, it did feel British.
Yeah.
The film felt British.
Fact that because I saw the trailer with Lucy and she's a massive Roald Dahl fan, and the fact that he was actually Cornish and had a thick accent was such a big selling point.
Probably why it hasn't done too well in America then, isn't it? So it's not doing too well over there.
Very, very close to film.
Yeah. Well, I have to go there next weekend. This weekend actually, so it's gonna be fun.
Okay, I think that icebreaker.
I think, I was going to say, it is, there's lots of giggles, it's good paced, like, they're well.
Yeah. Like, I think I will go see it. Like,
really good. I enjoyed it a lot, but I mean, that's because I grew up, you know.
I mean, Christ, you like Jurassic World, so that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean.
That was good.
I'm not saying it's a bad film, there's bad things about it.
The story behind Roald Dahl for me is, I built up my Roald Dahl collection because every few weekends, I'd go to a shop called Vincent Davis in Pembrokeshire with my gran. She'd have a look around, and there was a big bookshelf full of Roald Dahl books.
Yeah.
And every single time we went, she'd buy me a Roald Dahl book and one of those ice cream tubs with the scoop in the lid.
Oh yeah.
And she'd sign it.
Yeah.
She'd write a message and the date.
Yeah.
And I've only got one left, which is really sad. But
top tip people: don't throw out sentimental stuff, even though you think it might not be, that sentimental.
Well, you know when you're like 9 or 10 and your mum goes, "Oh, your bedroom's a shit tip." You're gonna have to get rid of some stuff, and then you give all your really sentimental things to charity. You go, "Oh shit, why did I do that?" And I will forever be looking. It's like that film with Ryan Reynolds. It definitely made me.
Was it that?
Where she's looking for that specific book. That
Oh,
dad.
yeah.
Oh,
it is,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be forever looking for the books that my granny
Yeah.
signed for me. I've got Matilda, which has got her writing in it, which is good.
So is it more that you like the stories or that you link it with the sentimentality? Or is it just a bit of both?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories are fantastic. He has such a
Oh,
good
yeah.
mind.
It's not as if you've like imprinted on Twilight or anything. It's not.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, my granny used to buy me Twilight.
Thanks,
so I love
Granny.
it. Yeah.
Well, that's going to be the future, isn't it? My granny used to buy me Twilight.
Right.
She signed it and dated it and everything.
I mean, this is my favourite book. It's 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, dear.
I read it when I was your age, which was only about 10 years ago. So
Yeah, my
you can
granny
enjoy
was a
it.
big advocate of rich people abusive relationships.
What about? I know I kind of forced the Roald Dahl thing on
Yeah,
you,
well,
but
don't
what about-
force the Roald Dahl thing on me, because
Okay,
it's
well,
not fair.
What's your favourite?
Well, I was going to say, like you mentioned Jurassic World, I was going to say, if anyone thinks of me, they would probably say nostalgia plus...
I think that's any kid
That
from the
being-
90s, late 80s.
Yeah, I mean, like, Gremlins, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, you know, Hook, Beetlejuice, and stuff like the Goonies and stuff that I used to watch when I was growing up. I'd say probably like 80s to 90s sort of good classic
Well,
film.
now you've said all the good ones. What's Tom going to pick now?
Well, no, it's
like you've just like Beetlejuice, E.T., Gremlins,
But that's a different thing.
Jurassic
Like,
Park.
my thing is that I'm kind of film mad. I always if ever I'm doing like a CV for like a media company, I always say, "Oh, I'm the walking, talking IMDb," kind of shit like that, just because I remember stupid facts about films. So I've always been obsessed with movies and just stuff like that. But then, as you're saying, like things like Back to the Future and the Goonies and stuff. But then, like going back to literally last night, I rewatched The Fast and the Furious. Awful film, but I love it because it's that kind of crap film. But I don't know where I'm going with this.
Like The Room.
Oh,
so
and
shit.
Fast and the Furious.
The Fast and the Furious is a good
I
film,
love
though.
it.
It's a good film, and it's become a great franchise.
Yeah.
Like I mean, those
They are good.
it's when you look back at those first films, especially like the first one, that was very much like in a little bubble on its own. But there was actually films like it coming out at that time,
Yeah.
like
Well,
Gone in
it was
60 Seconds.
it
Do
was
you remember
very,
that one
it
that
was-
had
yeah.
Nick Cage and Angelina Jolie in it?
Which went
And
really far.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Chad's got
It
a
could have-
7-piece franchise.
Yeah, that Gone in 60 Seconds could have. I don't know if that one came after Fast and Furious and it was just a response to it, but Fast and Furious could have just disappeared, but it's not. It's become this whole own thing.
Yeah.
It's becoming its own little
Imagine
thing.
if it had gone into like a 7-piece franchise, right? Gone in 60 seconds, gone in 50
Got in 59, got in 58.
Yeah.
But that's what I
Right,
like.
moving on.
I think as long as a film is good, I will watch it and enjoy it.
Mhm.
Like you get a lot of. I was having this conversation with a couple of friends of mine, and it was about the new Star Trek. So have you guys seen Star Trek
Yes.
Beyond?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
We kind of came out half and half.
Yeah,
because
we were-
did you grow up watching Next Generation, Janeway, or like
I watched Voyager.
right, which
But
is
I
Janeway?
didn't watch Next Generation, no.
Right.
And the thing is, I think what a lot of people are saying about Beyond is completely true in the sense of it does feel like old Star Trek.
Right, yeah,
But the problem with old Star Trek is that it was a TV show.
yes,
And you could do these individual little stories, but when you're doing a blockbuster summer feature film,
yeah.
does a story that works for a 60-minute TV show necessarily work for a 2.5-hour
Yeah.
blockbuster summer film?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe it does, and maybe they didn't quite do it right because
Yeah.
they had the Fast and the Furious director who wanted action,
Yeah.
action.
Constant, exhausting,
Yeah, it
everything happening all at the same
but I
time.
mean, it could work. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
I thought it was
Yeah.
a decent. I still think the first one's the best, but I thought it was better than the second one because there was just so much wrong with it. But the
But
main
Ed,
point
you're
was,
Colorado.
Love him with you.
No, not anymore.
but then you
Okay.
got the whole super blood bringing Kirk back from the dead, Tribbles, which you never put Tribbles in, and Alice Eve just going like that, kind of just
Is
get-
that
getting a
Yeah,
job
for
done.
no reason.
Yeah.
It's not
So from
how you
a
That's how you sell a film. Put
Yeah.
a naked lady in
put
it.
titties in
Yeah.
it, surely.
But then, so going back to my original point, like people who watched I had a conversation with a friend, so he was a massive original Star Trek fan, and then this new one comes out, and he absolutely hates it. He does not watch it because he's got this bias based from thing as a kid. But then, like, I could have that bias, but then as long as the film's good, I will still enjoy it. I can't really think of anything because growing up, I think growing up, the films that I liked were like The Goonies, were like Back to the Future, which thankfully they haven't remade or sequelized or whatever. Yeah, no, Ghostbusters I liked, but Ghostbusters were before my time.
I haven't got Ghostbusters down here.
Yeah,
because I think that ship has kind of sailed.
Yeah.
I think the box office is telling all kinds of tales.
Yes,
and that will just kind of like, you know. Although I will ask this: did you know that Sony has planned a all-male sequel to Ghostbusters, a sequel to the female Ghostbusters, a Slimer spin-off film, and a TV show?
Well,
did you know all of them?
Well, I knew that they had a male spin-off one because it was going to have Channing Tatum.
It's going to be the plan was to have it sort of in between when the girl next girl one comes
But then
out.
you say that, but then
I didn't want to get into this.
When they had when Sony had the complete rights for Spider-Man, they planned Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Sinister 6, Venom spin-offs. And look where that panned out.
Yeah.
So I think with Sony, you got to kind of take everything with
they do
a pinch of salt.
long-term plans, but then they don't really focus on getting it off the ground to begin with. Like we could make so much money from this, but if you don't get the start right,
well, they're
pulling
a Ubisoft, aren't they? Because Ubisoft just think, how the fuck can we milk this to its absolute maximum? Like however many Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs,
the weird thing
Crew.
is that when you compare that to Marvel, I'm sure there's executives at Marvel, even though they're very creatively focused, who are thinking, how much can we milk this? How far can we take this? There's still that, in the end, this is a business in the end. Like films, games, books, TV shows, whatever you want, they're there to make money. But you need to have that sort of like want for people to go back and watch more things, and after watching the first Ghostbusters, not the first Ghostbusters, the 2016 Ghostbusters, I don't want to see any more from that series at all.
Any particular reason why? Just because it was...
I thought basically all they did was... Paul Feig and Melissa McCarthy and
Kristen
Wiig. I think they've done some good stuff in the past. Like Bridesmaids was great. We watched... was it The Heat?
Yeah.
That was kind of Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. Spy was good.
Yeah.
But the point is that he makes... what's the right word for it? I can't remember the word now. Piss take films.
Parody?
Parody, yeah. Spy is complete parody and flip on the spy genre. You know, Bridesmaids is a complete parody and flip on the
Bro movie.
The bro, like Hangover.
Yeah.
It's the exact... It's Ghostbusters is not a parody. It's Ghostbusters. And
Ghostbusters
they tried to just plonk all those kind of jokes into that film.
But then,
and they're just...
You got to think, when the first Ghostbusters came out, it was very much of its time. It was very much the SNL guy, because it is pretty much all of them, minus Ernie Hudson, were SNL. Like Christ, they wanted Eddie Murphy for the role, who was massive at the time, because he had his own stand-up and everything like that. So it was very much of the time. It included jokes of the time. When this one came out, again, it's people from SNL. It's a very similar background, and it is jokes of the time. But the reason why, obviously this has probably been said a gajillion times, the reason why I think it's good is because it's finally a women's film. But then it's not. It's the whole like passing the Bechdel test. It's passing all other tests which I can't pronounce, and it's not sexualizing them. It's not showing like they sit down and eat pizza, and it's not like, oh my god, they should be ashamed that they're eating pizza. It's like it's four friends hanging out having pizza.
Oh, I
yes,
can't do that.
yes, they fawn over Chris Hemsworth a couple times, but that's done as a parody. That is them just going, oh look, we're flipping it on its head, kind of thing.
We're sexualizing him.
Yeah, he's the dippy blonde.
I know what you mean.
But then there was no dippy blonde in the original Ghostbusters.
There was Sigourney Weaver.
She wasn't dippy.
No, but she was overly sexualized. And then you've got Bill Murray being creepy as fuck. Like Bill Murray, brilliant. Obviously, he's an incredible actor.
But it was extremely non-sexist in terms of like when as soon as she does, he was very like his character, Bill Murray's character in the original Ghostbusters is extremely forward. That's his character, you know, and he is couldn't be construed as sexist. But when it comes to the point where she suddenly starts giving herself to him when she's being possessed by that ghost and everything, he's like, no, come on now, and he doesn't suddenly just jump on her and bone her at that point. Like it's like there's some actual thought process behind it, and I just But I mean, I think this is I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll see. Tell me the names of the characters in the new Ghostbusters film.
Abby. Oh Christ. Holtzman, Patty, and Kevin, and who's Kristen Wiig's character? Abby and Kristen Wiig. I can't remember. But then
I was like,
I've seen it once.
I know, but the thing is, I mean, it's so weird to come out of a film and not know the main character's name. Because everyone's referring to them as just their actors' names, and Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy and stuff. I came out of it and I thought to myself, I'm like, oh my god, those characters had so little impact on me. I do not remember.
But then
Holtzman though, Holtzman was cool.
She was
one character we actually really liked in the film. I thought she was really good.
She was so good.
All the other three, they have no impact on me.
But we got to think. It's. I'm gonna compare this to a very. A, I'm going to compare it to an SNL sketch, but B, I'm going to compare it to something quite out of the box. It's like Beyonce's Lemonade. It's not made for us. It's a female empowerment film.
I understand what you say when you say that. I understand that, you know, Holtzman kicked ass full on. I read an article about this. She kicked ass full on in a baggy...
In a boiler suit.
Suit, big boots, messy hair, massive glasses, like licking the guns, and like that's an iconic part of the film when she starts kicking ass, and it's like there's nothing sexual about it. Her tits aren't out. She hasn't got a thong on like you're used to in a lot of media now, where girls can only kick ass when they're in the Harley Quinn tight pants, or they, you know, guys can fawn over them or see something in them that's very sexual, and like that for women is quite nice to know that like actually this is a big film. Lots of people are gonna say, oh, I don't want to watch it, but watch it anyway, and they're gonna go, oh yeah, actually, you know, it's not all about periods and
I can understand that they had that sort of like drive behind them.
You don't care what your body looks like.
This is going to be. I mean, the whole thing behind it is that like the whole drive behind it is Paul Feig, and that's his he's very much like women should have more screen time. They should be stronger characters and stuff like that. But I think the film completely fell down in the sense of the actual like Holtzman was maybe the exception, but the other characters I felt were not strong female characters.
Right.
I didn't feel that they were very sort of. I mean, Holtzman was the one who was completely into her science, was loving it, and like I mean, even after I think they were saying that Paul Feig said like she was meant to be a lesbian, but they couldn't put it in. Sony said no, you're not allowed, which is a bit weird, flipping on the fact that they said, oh, we don't want this film to be, you know, sexist in any way whatsoever, and yet.
But girls can't love girls.
But girls can't love girls in the film, but
they can do everything else and be empowered, but they can't be in love with each other.
I mean, films should everything should be equal now. Like the fact that there is divide between sex and gender, I think is ridiculous. But I think it does have to kind of. We need little steps.
Yeah.
Because I think if they did kind of come out all guns blaring with Holtzman making out with someone, it's not.
Well, it's exactly the same as Star Trek, where the gay kiss was cut. Was it the gay kiss was? No, the gay kiss was cut from Jungle Book because Christopher Waltz was meant to kiss him, wasn't he?
Yes.
But there was uproar about Star Trek Beyond when
with making Sulu gay.
Yeah, and they were like, and loads of people were like, oh well, if they make Sulu gay, then George Takei's going to be like.
Well, that was the thing.
Annoyed about it because you know everyone knew that he was, but it wasn't really.
Well, yeah, because Simon Pegg wrote it in honor of George Takei, and then George Takei turned around going, "Oh yeah, it's not Gene Roddenberry's vision," and it's like, well, I understand that, but then it's a brilliant thing for someone. Because if they just brought in a character and go, "Oh hello, this is Bob. By the way, Bob's gay," no one would have given a fuck about Bob. Like it would have been, "Oh yeah, he's the token gay guy." much like
But he's
how
not,
Alice
is he?
Eve in Into Darkness. Oh look, here's the token sex symbol. We never see.
Yeah.
She not even mentioned in Star Trek Beyond.
At all.
So the fact
I was
that
wondering
yeah.
if she was.
Yeah, she did kind of disappear,
Yeah.
didn't she?
So the
Yeah.
fact that Sulu, an established main character, is gay, I think was a fantastic move.
But gay in a really subtle way, and like
Yes.
he's got a little family, and they're on this planet. What was it called? Something town.
Yorktown.
Yorktown.
And I only remember that
And-
from Hamilton.
And then the fact that his husband or his partner with the kid are in Yorktown, and Yorktown's about to be fucked up.
Yeah.
And you can see the pain on his face.
Yeah.
You're like, that is good. That's showing that homosexual love, but in a like familial way, not in a because going back to media, to like people have to point out someone's gay by them being campy
Yeah.
or dressing different
Yeah.
or not
Yeah.
doing normal things, doing a normal job, having a family or.
We talked about this for a while.
But
So I was
one
gonna say-
more
Yeah.
point there. Because the fact that he was gay as an Asian man with an Asian man was also a massive thing. Because obviously it's still quite taboo in that kind of culture.
Mm. Yeah.
So the fact that they put a casting call out for Sulu's husband, and they got like no responses because obviously it's seen as kind of like dishonoring your family.
Mm.
So the guy who actually plays his husband was like assistant director, or he was a crew member.
He's
So that's
involved.
why he-
that's
that's why he doesn't have any lines. So it shows how important it is, because there's an entire culture, there's an entire country out there who has this kind of like
Stigma about
an unfortunate mindset where if you are gay, you kind of have to be closeted because of it. And that's why I think the representation, so kind of touching upon Ghostbusters again, I think is so important. Like there's that meme that's going around with Kristen Wiig just signing something, and the girl's just looking up to her. And her
Oh,
face
the
is
little
just,
Ghostbuster girl
Yeah.
dressed up. Yeah.
pretty,
It's really
like
cool.
there's nothing like apart from The Force Awakens with Rey, Ghostbusters. There's probably others as well, but are there many strong female characters
Well, I
in
guess,
2016 films?
like
or
Joss
2015
Whedon.
films?
Joss Whedon's a massive advocate of female.
Black Widow
power.
in the Avengers one, she's kind of strong, but she
Yeah.
hasn't
Not a
been
main
put-
character.
she hasn't been put. No, she hasn't been put to the forefront. That's true. I mean,
Weird.
like you're saying, small steps is a great thing.
Yeah.
To equality, like nobody
Yeah.
can argue with that. I think we're concerned because we have a disagreement between Ghostbusters. I think my disagreement was the fact that like if you don't have that story there, it's like the people who are completely against the whole like sort of female Ghostbusters, if it doesn't do well, then they can be like, oh, it didn't do well because of the women,
But then-
and it could have a negative effect on it,
Yeah.
and it could sort of make it worse. But I more women in films, more main
Yeah.
characters in films. And actually, one of the things later on I've got on here
Yeah, it's women in
is women in films. So let's get.
Well, and sorry,
Yeah.
keep touching it. One of the again, so very similar to Star Wars Episode 7. I think there was a lot of pressure with Ghostbusters because obviously everyone's going to hate it from the off because they changed the classic. So Paul Feig had the same job that J.J. Abrams had, where you have to make a film stand out on its own grounds. You have to appease the old fans. You have to intrigue new fans, all the while keeping the franchise going and then possibly expanding. And I think that's a massive task.
Yeah.
I think Paul
But
Feig...
J.J. Abrams was shit his pants about,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
He
And he's
admitted it.
J.J.
He was so scared that it was going to go wrong.
And I think I'm a massive fan of J.J. Abrams, have been since Alias. And I think J.J. Abrams is a better filmmaker than Paul Feig. So I think that's why Star Wars Episode 7 is probably... Well, it is better because he can handle it better. So I think Paul Feig came at it with a similar kind of thing that J.J. Abrams had.
It reminded me Star Wars, another
Then-
strong female character. Rogue One's coming out at the end of
Yes.
the year, isn't it? Yeah.
With, I cannot... Felicity Jones, but I don't
Yeah.
know the character name.
Rebel Girl.
Yeah.
That's what her name is. Rebel Girl.
Rebel Girl, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Paul
Rebel.
Feig had a similar kind of problem, but then obviously because I don't think he's as strong a filmmaker as J.J. Abrams, so that's why I think perhaps certain parts struggled. But then he made a Ghostbusters for today, and I think give it 20 years, and I think it'll probably stand up as well as the original.
Yeah.
Someone else to do it.
But like even Ghostbusters 2 is shockingly bad.
Let's
And
not
that's-
talk about Ghostbusters. We spend an hour talking
Okay.
about that. We're going to spend 50 minutes talking
The
about
Ghostbusters edition.
Ghostbusters. So,
Yeah.
first thing I have, because it is the go-to
Hot
hot topic at the moment, is Pokemon Go.
Yes.
And we've all been playing it.
Yes.
We've missed the entry point, I guess, because it's kind of like it's pierced the
Stratosphere.
yeah
The bubble
the
pop,
world
yeah.
is this popped the world in terms of like everybody's playing it.
Mm.
But I wanted to talk about like the longevity of it. Are
Yeah.
people getting bored already? Are the changes that are being made pushing people away? Is the removal of Pokestops and gyms in the future where, I mean, you'll probably have something to say about this in terms of the university that you work at, which I won't mention, but there's people like, in certain areas that want their Pokestops removed, gyms removed.
Yeah.
They're looking into it.
Even though this game is only playable in those locations. So
Yeah.
I mean, longevity. What do you guys think in terms of how long it's going to last?
Well, like, I can't see it. I mean, right, so what Niantic are doing at the moment, I don't even know why they're digging a hole for themselves with the new update that's come out. It's already been
So
realised
what's
that...
a new update? Just say.
So,
Well, they removed the footsteps.
removal of footsteps. That was fucked up anyway. It's been fucked up for a good few weeks. Everyone was pissed off about that.
Something on iOS, which isn't on Android, they removed the battery saver mode.
Yes.
Which,
Because it wasn't working properly or something.
for some people,
Yeah.
like I know people that it didn't work for, but for me it worked absolutely fine and was a saving grace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Having it open in my pocket with it on, I did not like the fact
For
that
you,
you can do anything when it's against your
The
leg.
fact you don't want to burn your leg off as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
kill
'cause
your
it does
phone,
get hot.
melt the battery. That and the fact that once the update had come round and I was trying to transfer my Pokemon, I was like, what the hell's happened here? I can't transfer my Pokemon. I had to ask or like, Thomas, tell me that this is how you do it now. And I was like, oh, okay, didn't really know that.
What about the banning? Not necessarily banning, but they've politely asked these Pokemon locator websites to kind of like go bye-bye, and they've gone. So at the moment, there's no actual way of finding Pokemon in the game.
Unless Niantic have secretly bought Pokevision, I think it's a very, very bad move because Pokevision was brilliant.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I understand why Niantic wouldn't want it because it's kind of taken away from the main game. But then I found by using Pokevision, I actually went further afield than I would have just using Pokemon Go. Like, I caught a Vaporeon because just out in the wild, but then because it appeared on the nearby list, but because of the 3-step thing, it could have been anywhere in
1 kilometer.
You kind of see that and you go, nah.
It's like, I would really like that, but I don't have the time to wander around.
Probably not on my path.
Whereas then, Pokevision, I saw it around the corner, went near, got it. But then I was walking around the local city centre, and then I was like, I really like a war turtle. I've only caught X amount of Squirtles. Oh, look, there's a Squirtle within a 10-minute walk. I'll go there.
Yeah.
Oh, look, by walking over here, I've discovered that in this field there's a Nidoran. Oh, I'll go there. And I think unless Niantic bring that in, I think Pokemon Go will suffer.
So let's say then that they've just taken the 3 steps thing out at the moment because there's an issue with their connection to Google's Maps or whatever, something along those lines. So if they bring the 3 steps thing back and how it was to begin with, where it was 3, 2, and 1, do you think it's going to last longer that way, or do you think it's going to still kind of like have a dip in terms of active players?
I think I personally don't think that it's got much longevity in the sense that people who are of a certain level, maybe 20 and above, are finding that I remember talking to you about this the other day, but the XP to level up is unrealistic, really, because they said from levels 1 to 20, it's about 1% of the total XP that you can gather to level up to the max of 40, I believe it is.
Yeah, well, there was the guy who did it. He used the bot to level it all the way up, and from level 39 to level 40, you need 5 million XP.
Yeah, and where are you going to get that?
Yeah.
When a 10 XP Pidgey will knock away 3 Pokeballs now. the more you level up.
Oh yeah,
Fucking Pidgeys, man.
They seem to have become harder to catch, haven't they? They run away a lot more. And...
I saw this on Reddit. The better you do, the more XP you get. The higher level you are, the more it fucks you over. The Zubat's hit radius is tiny, and a 30 CP Zubat will knock away 5 Pokeballs. It's all, like you said, it's a business. Niantic wants money. They want to knock away 5 Pokeballs. They want you to not be near a Pokestop. They want you to say, fuck it, I'll buy 20 Pokeballs. I'll give you money so that they can, because it is a free app and that's a good thing, but they've got to make money somewhere. I can understand that completely.
So let's take a guess then. Is this flash in the pan or is this going to last? How long?
I think it's
in 3 months' time, are we still going to be talking about Pokemon Go?
It depends what they do in the next 3 months. Like the fact
if they pull it back.
Yeah, they've already received a decrease, obviously, because it was one of the fastest downloaded apps of all time or whatever. Probably pulling that out my ass, but in 2 days it became more popular than Tinder, Twitter, and porn over a 5-year period. So it shows how obviously something that explodes that much obviously is going to have a massive decrease afterwards. Yeah. But then if they handle the next, as you said, 3 months well enough, if they bring something like PokeVision in, or if
just take it back to.
So what do they need to do then to keep you? Let's say, what do they need to do to keep you as a player?
Trade-in, I think. Yeah. Trade-in needs to be top of their list, because if there's trade-in, I'm more likely to talk to the other people, because you always go to the Pokestops with a lure, and you're at a cafe or you're in a park or you're outside a building, and there's 100 other people there, all of them playing Pokemon Go. Yet I'm still sitting on my own because I'm still socially awkward enough, thanks to anxiety in the 21st century, to not talk to them. Whereas if I've got trade-in, I would more likely go up to them and go, "Have you got Squirtle? Have you got this?" And then
I've got 3 Vaporeons.
You'll put on your brown coat, your brown hat, and you'll be like, "I got some Pokemon for you."
My massive
little 8-year-old child is there, like, what's going on?
It's me outside the playground. But I think trading, is going to be a big thing. They Niantic.
So if they implement trading in the next 3 months, that'll keep you for the next foreseeable future, or
yes, but then they'll have to. They said during Comic-Con what they've released now is only 10% of their final.
This is not my final.
Yes, it's no final. But it depends on what they do. Like if they're going to do perhaps a Lego Dimensions idea to it, where they have years. So Lego Dimensions is currently going into its 2nd year now, so we'll have a whole 2nd year. So if Pokemon Go gets into its 2nd year, will they release the Johto Pokemon?
I think breeding and everything like that is sort of something they implement as well, isn't it? Yeah.
One of the problems I have with it is, and this again I've read, what you notice is I've got a Bulbasaur, can't do fuck all with my Bulbasaur. I can't find another Bulbasaur because I can't walk and find one. They don't appear. This area we live in is Rattatails and Pidgeys, and that's going to happen. But go and work home. Like in my lifestyle at the moment, we don't really go to town that much or whatever, to the places like the Bay where there are loads of Pokemon, maybe every now and then. But you catch a Pidgey and you go, that is 100 XP, 3 Pidgey candies, and whatever. And then you catch Pidgeotto, that's 3 Pidgey candies, and it's maybe a Pidgey is 2 Pidgey candies, Pidgeotto's 4 or 5, and then maybe
that's just getting into the mechanics, isn't it? It's
but
you could tweak stuff for.
I don't even touch
the fact that it's so such a new.
What could they do for you then to keep you playing? Because I know you're still playing at the moment. I've kind of drifted off a little bit because I drifted off when the 3-step thing came in and it didn't really work. And then they've removed that now. I'm even less taking it out, even though it's only been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You're still playing. So
I take it out because I want to hatch my eggs for one. I like the egg hatching thing. That's fucked up as well because it's not working at the moment, but it happens, so it's fine. The fact that the incentive to gather the candies and evolve the Pokemon, I don't even go to gyms. I don't even battle them. I'm not interested in that side. I'm interested in
The
catching them
discovery.
all,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
finding them, in oh shit, I hatched a bonita, or on the way
Is-
back from Weymouth, I was on the motorway and I was like, shit, there's a Clefairy.
Yeah.
I need to get it.
So it's
I want the collection.
Yours is
it's all a discovery for you.
Yeah.
Do you like?
Which the 3-step would be.
Is it like the fact that it gets you outside as well, like actually
Yes.
walking around stuff like that?
Well,
It's
on my lunch break, instead of sitting on my arse eating my salad, I'll eat my salad in the first 10 minutes, and then the next 20 minutes I'm walking around, because the Pokestops on my campus are there, and there, and I will walk for 20 minutes. And the fact that I was watching this morning, and the guy who's now caught them all in Britain is the father of 4, who's walked miles and miles and miles and lost 2 stone. I mean, you know.
That's the thing. It says you can see how much distance you've used Pokemon Go, and I've done about 40-50k more than I would have.
That you wouldn't have even thought of doing. You would be sitting here. I mean, the problem I have is I found it like, oh, should I really post anything on social media about Pokemon Go? Because my mum, she's not impressed with it, as are most people of that generation who don't really understand it.
Do you think that's representation by the media, or of
Yes.
demonising things?
Oh,
when
God,
they
yes.
get
I
something?
think it's.
Well, it's them going, oh, it's new, we're afraid of it. How,
Well, no.
how do we make people scared of it,
The
even
problem-
though it's getting them
it's
outside?
scaremongering, isn't it?
Child
It's-
found dead body. Child fell off cliff. Child hit by car.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
while
again, this
playing
is
Pokemon
natural.
Go.
Yeah.
So this is natural selection. Like if
I
you're
know.
dumb enough
That's-
to,
I know.
if
That's-
you're dumb enough to walk off a fucking cliff while playing Pokemon Go, then that you deserve that.
I
But
mean,
it's,
my logic in it is.
it says at the very beginning, look out for Gyarados. So it's
Yeah.
I do like the fact that they've added some more warnings
Yes.
into it. So when you load up the game, there's a pop-up that you have to actually tap to get rid of. It says,
So you've
please
got
pay
it.
attention. Don't do it while driving.
Which I think most teenagers
Which
are
is-
saying will just ignore anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the
it
thing.
covers their bases though.
You can have as many safety warnings on things as you want. Somebody's still going to put their finger in that blender.
Yeah.
It's still going to happen.
So we're still gonna well, the thing is,
Sorry.
I was going to say, I was 8 when Pokemon came out.
Yeah.
I was in the playground trading Pokemon cards, asking my mum to buy me more. I was putting them in a folder, arranging them neatly, trying to get the shinies. I had the Pokemon handbook that I took into school and everyone ripped up, because we were 8.
Yeah.
And it was something that I thoroughly enjoyed. I was outside, even then, throwing tennis balls at thin air, going, I've caught a Meowth, or, I've done this, whatever. And it was something that was talked about, like loom bands, like Moshi Monsters.
Yeah.
That was our Moshi Monsters for our
Yeah.
generation.
Hmm.
Parents at the moment who are in their late 40s, 50s, whatever, and some are doing it like this father of 4.
Yeah,
I mean, he was 30-something, but...
I think it's brilliant when you have a family. So it's like if a dad is trying to connect to his kids. So say a father might not be able to get on that well with his son or his daughter. He doesn't know really how to speak to him. It's a way of connection for them.
We saw this happen. We were in. I just had my hair cut down the bay. We went for a quick ice cream. And we had our phones out. We could see other people had their phones out. But we could hear there was a father with 2 daughters next to us who had his phone out and was explaining
how to do it.
And
he said, oh, there's an Eevee here. And then he went, oh shit, there's an Eevee here. And I went, oh, my phone's run out of battery. I can't get this bloody Eevee.
Yeah.
But like, my mum's position on it is, oh, this is ridiculous. Someone's crashed their car doing it. Someone's walked off a cliff. What the hell? Bloody Pokemon. Why are you even doing it? It's such a waste of time. And I'm like, if you knew how much time I wasted playing Uncharted 4, 4 hours an evening, if I really get into it.
Whilst you sat in your ass at
sitting
home.
on my butt, maybe snacking on something. It's not sitting on my ass snacking on something, playing like this.
Yeah.
It's getting out, walking. Let's go down to the bay. Let's go to this Pokestop. Let's go in here.
Well, you got to
Let's
think.
say to that girl there who literally has just said, let's find some Pokemon. And you go,
Yeah.
oh, actually.
I know where that is. But going back to the longevity thing, it was supposed to come out now, but it's been pushed back to the end of September. Pokemon Go Pro, which is the little band,
the
little thing. I think if they get that to work, then that will be a big step because you're not looking at your phone. You'll have something on your person that vibrates no matter where you are, and then you'll be able to work it out. The phone, obviously. I love Pokemon.
Work out your Pokemon.
Going back
so
to
I think
the
that's going to be a big thing. But then you've got all these, like as you said, like the older generation who don't really understand
it annoys me a lot.
who shout at it, but then you've got fucking Deirdre playing Candy Crush to level 190.
Yeah, it's like that meme,
And
isn't it?
Yeah, so it's like, people have been playing Candy Crush for 5 years and no one bats an eye, and then as soon as they go outside,
people go outside and start
everyone
playing
loses their mind
and interacting with each other. But it goes back to the scaremongering, that older people jump on things that are bad. If they don't like something, they'll go, yes, but this is bad. Yes, but chocolate's bad.
Because they don't
They
understand.
go, yes, but someone's died in it. So, yeah, okay, you shouldn't fucking be on your phone while you're driving anyway. That is common sense 101.
Mm.
You know, you shouldn't be looking at your phone like this. Oh shit, there's a cliff. I'm dead. Or, you know,
there is a level of personal responsibility when it comes
if you
to
want to
when
win
you're
that Darwin
leaving your
award,
home.
fine, cool.
You know, it
Natural
doesn't matter.
selection.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're playing Pokemon Go or reading a book, whatever. You have there's own personal responsibility to look after yourself
Your personal safety.
and do the sensible things. Look left and right when you're trying to cross the street.
Yeah.
You know, it's that's the thing.
It's like I read an article where a little girl had been run over by a car because of Pokemon Go apparently somewhere, and the mother said, "Oh, if it wasn't for bloody Pokemon Go, she wouldn't have been outside." And I was like, "Oh my god, that's so sad. What would she have been doing?
Yeah.
Sitting in front of the TV? Like
Yeah.
once it was
How dare my child go outside and enjoy herself in the fresh air?
Yeah, it's like once it was you know there's roads there. Take her to a park.
Yeah.
You know, like.
It's
Once
the
it was
parents'
TVs give you
responsibility.
square eyes, don't watch TV forever, and mothers go, oh, you shouldn't watch TV for hours and hours. And then, like, actually, go out, get fresh air, meet people, go walking, lose some weight.
I think that's why it's fantastic, is because we're in a generation, well, from now on up until the future, technology is going to be a big thing. Unless there's some, like, unless there's World War III or electricity somehow just stops on this planet. It's gonna be like Ready Player One. At some point we're just gonna be plugged into, or like the Matrix, we're gonna be plugged into a fucking headset, Oculus Rift or whatever, and that'll be our lives. The fact that this is getting us outside is a big
No other games really do that.
No.
And there's been outcry
no
for games
other games
that,
successfully have done that.
Yeah,
to such a degree.
You can't have it both ways. You can't go, oh, look at you sitting there ass playing on the PlayStation. You should really get out more. Well, actually, I'm out now. Oh no, you really shouldn't be out because it's dangerous. What?
Yeah.
That's.
But the fact that, as you said, we're going out, we're interacting, we're doing what you want.
Yeah.
But you're still pissed at it
But
because
it's
it's something
not
you don't
good
understand.
enough. It's still not good enough.
We're not just holding polite conversations.
Yeah.
And
I mean, my mum said, "Oh yeah, but how do you manage to, not bump into stuff?" And I was like, because I can move this. I'm not looking at it all the time.
It is silly for the questions and stuff like that to come up because it's common sense in the end, isn't it? It's like, well, how do you stop doing that? But anyway,
one more thing. I was walking past a guy and I was like, oh, I'll look at his phone and see if he's playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
He was just taking selfies. So whatever you're doing, if you're texting, you could walk into the road. If you're taking selfies, you could walk into the road. Just pay attention. Really, it's not rocket science.
But it does bring people to, like my Vaporeon that I mentioned earlier. A guy. So we were walking in opposite directions, so towards each other along a road. Both of us on Pokemon Go. Both of us spotted the Vaporeon, and we turned off and got it. And then, like, because obviously we both turned into this corner in this park. We were just like, Vaporeon, yeah. And then, so it's a tiny interaction. A friend of mine playing it in the park, a Snorlax appears. Fucking, obviously, hundreds of nerds running. Yeah. But then you're catching it, people who don't know each other, they've got the Snorlax, yeah, brilliant, yeah, high five. It's that whole...
Do you find yourself, like,
brilliant.
Even if you're walking down the street and you don't know people are playing it, you look at the phone and you go, oh, they might be.
Yeah.
And
Pogo sense or something.
Yeah, and, like, when you realise they are, you have this little, like, yeah, I'm part of that. Like, like you do a little smile, you go.
I think that going back to the longevity thing, it'll be very interesting to see if they do player-to-player battles. Like, I think the battle system right now is not great because you're tapping away.
No incentive to hold the gyms because people have like 2,000.
But then if there's a better player-to-player battle, then again it goes into the whole social aspect where if they do introduce it, it would be exactly just like the fucking Pokemon games, where you're just sitting in a park, someone walks by, and your phone goes, ding, and it's like, oh shit, there's a trainer who wants to battle.
Yeah.
Like, it could be like Bluetooth. It could be an option where you go, do you want to be discoverable for a battle? Yes, no.
It's exactly like on iPhones with that eardrop thing. Yeah. As soon as that came out with iPhones, people on I remember reading something about this, on the subway in London had their phones discoverable by everyone, and people were just sending funny photos to each other on their phones because it would just pop up and go, they've sent you this funny photo because you're discoverable by everyone. And like I said, just make it discoverable and then that'd be really good. But
and if you're not interested, there could be an opt-out where
just it's passive mode in GTA, same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, we Get off on
too much
tangents.
Pokemon Go. Too much Ghostbusters.
That's the first thing on a list of about 20 things I want to go through. So let's.
That's fine. We got millions of episodes.
Yeah. But news changes every week, so let's need to keep up with it. So South Park: The Fractured Butthole is a video game that is going to be coming out. So it came out recently. How it got its name,
Yes.
And the reason why it's got its name
Because they're not allowed the word butthole.
Yes, it was originally going to be called The Butthole of Time, but conservative retailers in the US would refuse to stock the game.
Yeah.
So my question is, with the move to digital, and things are moving much more towards digital, and
Netflix, Amazon
traditional conservative retailers are going the way of the past, and eventually probably will completely disappear.
Yeah.
Could sort of censorship become less over time? Do you think? Or
yes, but then that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
Like the.
Oh yeah, I wasn't suggesting bad.
No. Like, well, you got to think the Stick of Truth, which is the first South Park game, in Europe and Australia, there's actually 20 minutes of the game that is censored because it's one of the main characters getting probed by an alien. So, which is ridiculous because
Can't handle it.
yeah, but then the internet is the whole point of the internet was that it was free, it's unrestricted. Yes, there's disgusting things on there, but only if you go searching for it. But then, like with Netflix as well, and HBO, I'm guessing, well, not guessing, kind of started it.
Are
for
Netflix originals rated at all?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes,
Are they?
I think
so. Yeah.
For example, with the BBFC, because I mean that's films, isn't it? And Netflix makes films, but they release them online in the UK.
yeah.
Are those rated by the BBFC?
Well, I suppose you have to be
Probably.
you have to be of a certain age to have a Netflix account anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing
But they're not released in cinemas. So I'm guessing they wouldn't.
Well,
be,
but then things like House of Cards, Orange Is the New Black, they then get released on DVD with a rating.
Yeah.
But then because you have with HBO, because it's a subscription service, they don't have to really worry about people being pissed off about it. Which I think is brilliant because then Daredevil season 2 was mind blowing because you finally get to see the Punisher going back to the very first question, comic nerd kind of thing. You finally get to see the Punisher be the Punisher, kicking the shit out of people
Not a slap on the wrist.
No, and the scene in Daredevil season 2. Have you guys seen?
No.
Okay. Well, there's a scene in Daredevil season 2. He's essentially in a prison, and then someone sends all these bad guys to kill him. So he's a lone man with 12, 13 murderers with shivs coming to get him, and he takes them all down. And that's brilliant because that is what it is in the comic. But then you look at movies and. Perhaps not the Punisher movies because they didn't do very well commercially, but they are R-rated, 18 or whatever. But they would shy away from that. But you get things like the Hunger Games, say. So the books, not graphically violent because they're obviously teen novels, but they deal with death. People are getting killed. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the films, they're like, oh, we're going to cut away a few seconds before you see the stabbing because people don't want to see that.
Well, that wasn't that a big thing with the first one with the little girl's death? What's her name?
Rue.
Yeah, they specifically cut out.
Yes.
Even though they'd shot it during the film, they were like, "Oh, this will get you a 15 rating."
Well, they released.
We better cut 5 seconds of seeing the blood there. So
well, they released a 12 DVD and a 15 Blu-ray, and the 15 Blu-ray had the extra 3 seconds. It was like they literally cut a millisecond from different scenes. And then all together, it made 5 seconds. I think it was just like a frame from each death that they cut, which is kind of ridiculous. But because then you look at Deadpool, first R-rated superhero, and they no hold bars, fucking shish kebabbing people, heads chopping off. Brilliant film. And I think as an audience we want that, but then you still get the complete fucktards who are taking their kids. You get the housewives, mothers of two, who want to complain to the manager with their fucking little corgi dogs, who take their kids to it thinking, oh yes, it'll be brilliant. Oh, it's got killing in it. I'm going to give this. I'm the one who's going to complain.
I've not seen any of the trailers. You don't even realise. It was a superhero film. It's going to be timid, like Marvel.
Yeah, I think there are stupid people in this world, and I think they give art a bad name. I'm very much for art being as expressive as.
So do you think we should have censorship then?
In certain respects, I think Emilia
We
Clarke
need it.
in Game of Thrones, she won't get her boobs out unless it's conducive to the story. Brilliant. So if we need to see this guy have half a face, is it conducive to the story? Like, that's why I like horror films like the Saw films. Saw 1, 2, and 3 is an enclosed story which kind of explains the violence. Saw 5, 6, 7 just goes, oh fuck it, we're going to kill this person for shits and gigs. I don't think those are good films. I think the original ones are good because it kind of justifies the deaths are part of the story.
Another case of a franchise maybe going on longer than it needed to.
Yes.
For monetary period.
Which they're fucking rebooting it now.
Yeah, they're doing the final one.
Well, they've done the final chapter, which brought everything back.
They called it the final
which was
chapter.
kind of, yeah.
But then we're going to have another one.
Yeah. Well, they're doing that with Shrek as well. There's going to be a Shrek 5 coming out.
Oh, great.
Because Universal have bought DreamWorks, so Universal are like, we've got this dead horse, let's flog it some more. What was I saying? Censorship. So I think
Emilia Clarke.
Yeah, so as long as it's conducive to the story,
relevant.
like with Deadpool, like it's yes, he's killing people like left, right, but that's because that's what it's the comic books. That's the point of the character. So as long as it's conducive with the story, and we're kind of obsessed with realism at this point. Well, since Batman Begins, what's that, 2005. So I think as long as it's realistic violence, then I'm a big fan for it. Being a massive fan of Quentin Tarantino, but then that's not realistic. So
yeah.
I mean, we do need censorship in the sense that we do need those NSFW links.
Yeah. For
to keep it away from the eyes that it's not
intended
meant for.
I mean,
I
don't want my
adult,
4-year-old nephew seeing Emilia Clarke's boobs. I don't
exactly. Like, as long as you're of the correct age to be the consumer of that media, and as long as kids are protected from seeing things that they shouldn't be seeing until they're of an age where they're ready to deal with that as a fact of life.
Yeah, but then I think that's there's a scary kind of.
I mean, I think we're getting a little bit deep into this because
if
you want to come back to what we were, what it originally is
yeah, it started with the fractured butthole.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really a question of the fact that conservative retailers wouldn't stock a game that has the word butthole on the title.
No, that's where it gets stupid.
Now, I mean, is that a step too far in terms of censorship? And obviously, it's not actual censorship. It's just sort of like refusal to stock it, and then they wouldn't get any sales.
It's the thing. It's the thing of the time. So I remember back when I was a kid in mid-90s, it was the word bitch was a swear word, and now you can turn on Hollyoaks at 6:30, and everyone's a bitch. Comedy Central, either last year or the year before, finally allowed the word shit to be unbleeped. So even though they bleep everything above shit
was that when South Park then suddenly did the counter at the bottom right?
Yes.
And they just started saying it loads and loads and loads, and they made the whole episode about the fact that a TV show in South Park show was going to say this one word, and they just kept saying it over and over. Yeah.
So I think we're getting, because we are becoming a more liberal world. Like I know there's Democrats and I know there's Republicans and Conservatives and all the different kind of branches of that, but even if you don't like it, LGBT plus Q, whatever the thing is at the moment, transgender, sexual, even like nationalities and stuff, we're becoming what the world should be, which is yes, everyone should be drag queen. No, there was a tweet.
More accepting.
Yeah, there was a tweet that Neil deGrasse Tyson, the American astrologist, physicist, whatever he is, he
Scientist.
said, he said, I'm going to update my passport to go across man-made borders, which it is. It's the borders that we've put up. There's no point to them at all. So if we can get to this point where hippy-dippy world peace kind of thing, then I think censorship will be a completely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we still have the very, very right wing, the fucking middle class mothers who complain about everything. We still have that. So
I think it's always going to be like that. I mean, what I was getting at was I understand where we do need censorship, but I also realised that if you've got a game with the word butthole in it, amongst all the other games of that letter in the alphabet, on a shelf, who are they trying to protect? Are they trying to protect little kids who maybe couldn't read it? Or are they trying to protect, like, younger teenagers who would just laugh at it?
Yeah.
Like, it's not harming anyone. It's a word on a piece of paper.
It's kind of that. It's
a
that
game. It's not, it's not...
It kind of links to that kind of prudish thing. So, like, if a kid... Like, if I had a kid and have them in a year's time, and they saw the word butthole, and they're like, Daddy, what's that? Then I'd say, well, it's where you poop from. Everyone's got one. It's not. It shouldn't be a thing that you shy away from.
No.
Like, as long as it's not like cunt, and to your child.
And it is a case of everyone having one. It's not just gender restricted either.
I mean, the thing is, is it obviously that they consider it? I'm guessing a swear word at that point. What's the? You're saying, oh, everyone's got one. What's the scientific term? What if they had it called anus of time? Would that be refused from putting up on a retail stand when it's just a scientific word for actually what it is?
Well, people still get very prudish over the word penis and vagina.
And they're the actual scientific terms.
Yeah. So it's an odd.
There are always going to be people prudish about something.
Right.
Yeah.
Like going on a tangent, like the whole. I think it's censorship. This kind of censorship is a bit too much. Like butthole is not a thing, but the butthole of time is not as good a title as the fraction butthole.
No,
like I still fucking laugh my ass off every time I hear it. Like it's probably on the video where I've been smiling every time you say it. Every time I see it, I smile. Every time I think about the day I'm going to play
creators, every time that it's mentioned, I mean, we were watching the E3 presentation, and every time the guy said the title, they were just smiling because they were so happy that they came up with this great pun of a title that actually is better than the original one they came up with, which is great.
So I think it's good. It made so in this respect, censorship made a better product.
Yeah, from.
But just because they're trying to fuck over the system.
Loopholes. There's always going to be loopholes.
Yeah, but butthole is not a thing.
So it's coming out soon. No Man's Sky. You're very much looking forward to it.
Yes.
But I don't know if you've seen, but it's actually been leaked in some way.
Well,
don't. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm not going to say anything about it. But the discussion mainly it isn't necessarily about No Man's Sky, and it's not necessarily about leaks. But I mean, there was a leak when Uncharted. It was quite interesting actually. It got there was a truckload of it got stolen, and it got leaked somehow. But my question is, linking back to digital distribution in the previous question, is like, with digital distribution becoming much more prevalent and the ability to release things quicker, do you think there should be sort of two release dates these days, like a physical release date? Because I feel that the physically actually making the discs and shipping them, getting them ready in the stores, ready to sell, is not necessarily slowing down the process because it's an old process and that's what they've used. But the digital distribution that's in place could allow it to be got to people much quicker, and would also then boost digital distribution sales, which I'm sure Sony and Microsoft and Steam, Valve guys, would love. So I mean, I don't know what you guys think about that. What do you think? Do you think they should have two release dates, or?
Well, they kind of do that at the moment. Like you do get what games come out? The new Telltale game for Batman. Episode 1 is coming out some point in August, and then they're releasing the physical season pass disc in September. So they are kind of doing that at the moment. But there we go. Batman Telltale is kind of a perfect example for my thought. I do enjoy still buying the physical thing. I'm very much to that. So if there's a CD I like, I'll buy it. If there's a film I like, I'll buy the Blu-ray. If there's a game I like, I'll buy the game. But with digital coming out, I think if they still want to sell the physical copy, there needs to be added extras. So it needs to be like, so you can buy the bare bones game on digital for £40, or you can spend 50 quid, but then you get the season pass, or you get all of this extra
The
content.
physical
Just a
one is
special
the special edition,
Yes.
basically.
Yeah.
And maybe you get the figurine with it,
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
So in order to keep that kind of side alive, I think it should. But then you get into
But then should the digital one come out before the physical one? So say my example is, say for example, that the game goes gold 2 weeks before the actual physical release. Should the game then come out maybe a week earlier than the physical release?
You're thinking half the audience then. You're
Yeah.
not disenfranchising, whatever the word is. You're pissing off half the audience because
The
there's going
guys...
to be people who are collectors who want the discs. There's going to be low-income people who perhaps, because you've got to think when they
You have to trade a game in to buy a game.
when they download, it's full price and you can't trade in. You can't put really any money towards it. Also, it's hard drive space. So if you have a purely thing of digital downloads, you're going to need an extra hard drive. Like my hard drive on my PS4 is only 500 gig and it's full. So I'm having to complete a game and then wipe the game because you have to install the game onto the thing.
But then you can re-download it obviously from the store
yeah.
as much as you want, you know.
Yeah, but it's. I think you are kind of pissing off half the people.
What about a situation then? If you do make a comparison to films, whereas you say there's different audiences there. Once with the games, certain people want the special edition, certain people just want the game.
Yeah.
So certain people, when they hear that a film's coming out, maybe an older generation, will be like, "Oh yeah, I'd like to see that," but they won't go and see it in the cinema. They don't want the special edition. They don't want the big screen and everything like that. So they might wait for it to come out on
but then they're spending
Blu-ray, or they might wait for it to come out on Sky Movies, or they might wait for it to come out on ITV2 6-7 years down the line, well maybe 10 years down the line. So you've still got in other mediums that sort of like different tiered system in place, and you know you got but then I suppose the difference with that is that if you did do this sort of like week early release for digital, you're screwing over the people who want it the most. The physical, the one who want the special edition.
Well, that's happening quite a lot with video on demand. Like you see a lot of films that are coming simultaneously out the cinema and out on demand as well. So we are kind of seeing this at the moment. So you could, say I wanted to watch, so using Deadpool again as an example, say I wanted to watch that, I could rent it from iTunes for $2.99 for 24 hours or other streaming services or whatever. Or then I could spend 15 quid on the DVD and then get all the added extras. So that kind of does, it is happening at the moment. But then it is like, as you said, like the older generation, perhaps they want to see it but didn't go see it in the cinema. Should they really spend 15 quid on all the shit, kitchen sink?
I think as well it's completely different with games, because if you think about it, it's very similar to this is Xbox One exclusive, this is PS4 exclusive. The word exclusive is exclude. You feel excluded when I haven't got an Xbox One and I can't play Tomb Raider yet. And it's been months and I can play it on Steam, but I'm more of a console gamer. So everyone's played it on their Xbox One and I'm like patiently waiting for it to come onto the PS4 so I can play it in the manner that I am more accustomed to. That sense of being excluded, you know, you would feel like that if the digital market have had their copy of the game, they've played it, they're discussing it online, and they're potentially revealing spoilers because people don't give a shit, and they're like, I've played this, I've done this, this and this. That's excluding the kids who may be a really big fan of the game, who want to play it, who might accidentally go online and find out something that they don't want to do. Say, for example, Uncharted, people a week before would have played it and possibly finished it. By the time they actually get in, and they might not even have very good internet where they live because they might still be living with parents, and they might have a very bad internet connection. They might not even want to play the multiplayer. But even if they want to play the single player, they have the potential of it being spoiled. And gaming now is more of an experience for people. I mean, it always has been, but it is more immersive now. There's more of a storyline there's more character definition, and you know that's similar to a film. And no one wants anything spoiled. You don't want to run across spoilers. You don't want to, you don't want to be watching an episode of Breaking Bad and someone going, "Oh, by the way, this happens."
Yeah.
You want to be immersed, and you want it to be your own story at your own pace.
But
and I think it should. Maybe there's potential for it, but I don't know. I feel like if it's staggered, lots of people would have played it and been done, and you might feel like you're behind the times really if you're playing it later. I don't know.
But the sad thing is that we're in a world where, I think we touched on this earlier, it's just consumerism. So you've got the big companies, so they're not going to care that little Jimmy can't get Rise of the Tomb Raider for a whole year. They care. As you said, we've got Xbox One. So everyone who's got an Xbox One rushes out to buy Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then they get that rush again when it comes out on PlayStation 4. So all they care about is the masses. They don't care that little Jimmy can't get it.
Yeah.
So we're not. We're not going to get to a point where it benefits everyone.
No.
It's going to be where it benefits the company.
You'll never please everyone at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can't.
But then saying that, so going digital only is a benefit to smaller companies. So think of games like Limbo, or not the sequel, by the same company, Inside, Minecraft when it started. These were all digital download only. Journey for the PlayStation, and perhaps
no physical production costs.
Yeah, if they had to make a like a game, they probably wouldn't have had it, because who's going to spend 40 quid on a game and complete in 5 hours? Like Firewatch as well. It was 15 quid and you finished it in 4 hours. I played Lifeless Planet. I spent like 10 quid on that, and that was only, again, 4 hours.
Life is Strange as well.
As well. But these developers, they've become big afterwards. So like Limbo and stuff, and Life is Strange and Minecraft especially, have then got disc releases and become massive. But then what if they hadn't? So this tiny company wouldn't have been able to get their game out had the digital option not been a thing. Got to think back to perhaps PS1, PS2 era. How many kind of independent games were there that ended up doing well to spawn on to something big? Probably not a lot when you think about it.
Yeah. Cool. So let's swap over to films, I guess. And there's a little bit of news came out. Well, not news, rumour, I guess, is that the person who's playing Han Solo in this
Aldrich. What's his name?
I didn't bother to write his name. But he's obviously got his own solo film. That's Han Solo solo film.
Yeah.
But the rumor is that he's been signed for a trilogy of films.
Yeah.
Is this needed? And is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? I mean, we're getting individual solo, not Han Solo, but solo films in between the numbered releases of the Star Wars films. Do we need 3 Han Solo films?
It goes back to, again, going back to my thing earlier. If they're good, but then they're kind of working off the model where.
Or do you think they've signed him just to make sure?
With film actors and contracts, they always sign them on to the possibility of more films. It's the way the films are made that they have to be careful about. So Pirates of the Caribbean, obviously they probably got signed for like 7 films or 3 films or whatever. The first movie is an enclosed film. When that did well and they knew that they were going to get the sequels, then that's when episode 2 ended on cliffhanger. Matrix #1 is an enclosed film. It did so well that they got the 2, which ends on cliffhanger, goes into 3. What they don't want to do is create a film with the prospect of it being with a sequel. So the main things that jump to mind are Jumper and The Golden Compass. Both of those films were created in mind, this film's going to do great, we're going to get a trilogy out of it. Another film, Push, as well. Very, very underrated film. But it ends on a kind of, like the end of Empire, just kind of floating off and everyone's thinking, oh Christ, now what? There's no real end. And that's bad because people, it's not really leaving you wanting more. Whereas I'm like, if Jumper was an enclosed story, I would have been more like, oh, that's brilliant. If there's more likely to get a sequel.
An exception, I think, is not even film related, but it's Half-Life, isn't it? That is the case of people definitely wanted
Yes,
more.
they wanted another
and not
episode.
not getting it.
But that was because they did Half-Life 2, when in Half-Life 2
Yeah.
episode 1 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if Han Solo 1 is good enough to spawn a sequel, then yeah.
Cool.
Do it
So
away.
you'd be up for a
Yeah,
few
but
Han
I
Solo
think
films.
I think it's just everyone's losing their shit because oh, he signed on for 3 films. But that's Hollywood. Everyone gets signed on for multiple films.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
you
just-
might
it's just a-
do one.
It's just
You
a
might do
formality then, I guess.
Yeah.
That is nothing-
But then obviously because Star Wars is such a big thing, then he's going to get 3 films.
Yeah.
two.
I don't think Han Solo should have got. I think it should have been an Obi-Wan Kenobi film, because I think that's a more interesting character. But then I think they touch upon Obi-Wan's past in like the Clone Wars and not Rebels, but all that kind of the animated thing. And I mean, Ewan McGregor was the only good bit about the prequels anyway. So
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
so not.
I think it touches on the case of what I'd say is always be over-prepared rather than under-prepared, and don't sign him for one film and then think, fuck, we need him back, and he's gone off to do something else. Sign him for 3, so he's contracted to, and if it does really well, then
but
that's fine. the
make
space is open.
it good. Don't spend the entire time going. Oh, I'm going. Well, this is kind of where I think one of the bad things about Batman v Superman. A lot of the film it's spent going. I'm going to include this because it's going to pay off in Justice League, like the whole scene with the Flash or the whole future thing with Darkseid or Seed or however you pronounce it. I think that's poor filmmaking. Whereas if you just made a very very good standalone Batman v Superman film, then they can spawn it off of that. Like Finding Nemo, very very good film on its own. It was a complete story, and yet they've managed to get a sequel out. I think Finding Dory is completely unneeded. It's a brilliant film, in my personal thing. I think it's unneeded. But then,
you never would have felt like anything was missing if they hadn't.
but they managed to do it.
And the funniest thing about it is, as well, when you look at the synopsis for the film, you're like, they've just done the same thing, except it's Dory's parents, but it's not. It's a whole different.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to
feel
go
to
down
it.
the lines of fucking what's it called, 22 Jump Street. Literally, when she was like, "I'm lost," I was like, "Same thing," because that is what was it? Is it Ice Tea? Or who was the guy?
yeah.
What's his name?
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
Just
Yeah.
the same
Ice
thing.
Tea.
The same thing. Literally, that's
But
the
that
running
was-
joke. But
yeah.
literally, I was like, "Is this going to be like this? Like, have they got?"
I mean,
dogs
22
in it?
Jump Street obviously did it for parody, and that's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why it's funny. But yeah, it could have gone to the whole. But
It could have been.
that's what I think Finding Dory is good in that respect because, as I said, it's unneeded, but then it's still good.
It's the now generation's Finding Nemo, like the generation of the.
It's not a generation between Finding Nemo
12
and Finding
years.
Dory.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
long
it's-
time. It's a
no,
whole
it's-
child.
Yeah.
It's a whole child's life. It was
12
in
12
secondary.
year old
Alright,
is a
alright,
big kid.
alright. Anyway, talking about more sequels, Avatar sequels. So there's James Cameron's come out and said, that there's going to be 4 sequels to Avatar. He's come out and said that there's going to be this many films. The plan. This is the plan again. We were talking about not Suicide
Solo.
Sinister Six.
Oh yeah,
And we were
same
talking
thing.
about that earlier. So they said the reason why there's this many films coming out is because he's basically overwritten. He's wrote too much. There was meant to be sort of 2 films, but they both branched into 2 films. Do we need 10 to 12 hours more of Avatar? Does he need a person to come in and cut down this story or the script, or is there? From what we viewed in the original Avatar, is there enough story there to warrant another 10 to 12 hours?
I'm on again, off again fan of James Cameron. I think he's done some. I mean, Terminator 1 and 2, mind blowing. I love those films. Aliens, again, brilliant.
True Lies.
But True Lies,
True
really.
Lies.
But like with the Pandora, it was a planet, so there's so much stories that you can have. But it goes again.
They fucked off at the end.
Yeah, but always referring to something I said earlier. If it's good,
Yeah.
like Fast and Furious, they know their niche. Like 2 and 3, 2 is awful. 3 was decent. 4 was number 1 again. But 5, 6, and 7. it became so ridiculous that they became good.
Avatar's release was 3D, and 3D is
I was gonna
dying
say,
down.
Yeah.
The massive deal about Avatar was that it was stunning visually, and it was when 3D
Story's
was in
very
its
simple.
heyday.
Yeah.
And we weren't paying attention really to the story. We know it generally because we've seen it multiple times since, probably. But you weren't leaving
We've
the
seen it
cinema
multiple
going,
times
"Oh, what a good
previously as well.
story!"
Pocahontas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Dancing with
you
Wolves,
weren't you weren't leaving the cinema going, "What a fantastic story! Well done, James." You were going, "Oh my
Wow.
god, that was
You've
ridiculous."
got to go see that film. That's
Yeah.
what they said when
For
it
the
came out,
visuals.
isn't
That
it?
that
That's
is
what it was.
what Avatar was. That is why it was talked about. You have to go and watch it, and that's
I think if he has a story, if it's good, it's
You're no good for talking to, but whatever. He's like,
but like,
if it's good,
so-
it'll be alright.
like if
you know.
Avatar 2 comes out and it's shit, if it's awful, then I will be like, no, I don't want another one.
Hmm.
If it's good, I'll be like, if he's got another one, then I'll.
You
I'll
seem
accept
very
it.
open to everything. You give everything a
Everything.
chance, you know.
well, you don't
Well,
knock
I
it
give
until you try
mo-
it.
yeah, I give most things a chance. Like as long as it's well made
Mm.
or a decent story, then I'll watch it. 'Cause I'm being a massive film buff. I love all cinema of all kinds. But then it gets to the point where if they're just making it for the money, Minions, it's I hate that because that is squeezing every single drop out of something that doesn't
Okay,
need to be done.
let's transport ourselves back a few years. Then you're the producer who has to greenlight Avatar.
Right.
James Cameron comes in, and James Cameron says, "I've got this idea for a film. Here's the story to it," and he pitches the story to you. And because you are a film producer, but
Mhm.
also a film lover,
Yeah.
you recognise the story straight away.
Yeah.
You understand the story because it's been done many times before.
Yeah.
Would you greenlight that film?
Yes, because at that time James Cameron had the highest grossing film of all time. And if James Cameron comes to you and goes, "I've spent the last 6 years diving down to the Titanic, creating this world, I want to be with you," I go, yes, because he's going to make me a fuck ton of money.
Why not?
Yes.
So he's now come back to you. Now
I've sold my soul to James Cameron
Yeah.
for title for the video. But then that's coming from a producer standpoint.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just next slide. So then now Avatar comes out. It makes $2 billion or however much it makes. It made a lot of money. It cost a lot of money to make as well, though. It's like that's one of the things about it is like they never released how much it cost to make the film. It made a lot of money for you, for him, for everybody and stuff like that. And he comes back and he says, "I want to make 4 more of these." And my story for it is say we obviously don't know what the story is, but say the story's on par with the story of the first Avatar, as in it's not revolutionary.
Yeah.
It's just similar.
But then we're in a cinematic world of sequels. That is what we're in. So the business-sided mind of my fictional portrayal as this producer would be like, yes, because it's going to make me a shit ton of money. But then as a
So what, you greenlight all 4? Or
well, I don't know how the industry works.
Compromised.
do a Peter
I
Jackson
probably
and film all at the same
wouldn't.
time?
I
or-
probably wouldn't greenlight them all. I would greenlight the next one, but then based on the critical reception, like you see, it'll happen all the time.
But it's cheaper
The
to
day
do all of
after-
them together, to film them together. So, you know, if you film each one individually, you're going to be costing yourself more money. You'll be eating into your profits.
I think what you have to do is you have to really think logically about what he could possibly do. Is he going to use... He probably won't use the same characters. I mean,
Well, Sam
are they going
Rockwell
to
and
bring
Sigourney
back
Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver's
Maybe.
coming back.
Are they going to be avatars? Have they found another planet that they're going to, different characters, different style, different art style, different creatures? We're going to be avatars, maybe, very similar story. There's something on that planet that someone wants. Are they going to then morph into these, using the avatars of this culture? Is there a similar Sigourney Weaver who's a proper obsessive buff for these creatures on this planet? Do you know what I mean? Like, it depends on what you could do with it. Are they going to do it on the same planet?
you could like talk about what you could possibly do with it. But I was just sort of like,
I think if James Cameron comes in and goes, it could be 2 possibilities. He can either come in and go, I want 4 more films, and I go, okay, what's the story? And he goes, Or he can go, well, I've got this. Here's my documents.
Possibility.
Yeah. So I think as long as he's got a plan, because obviously not being
He's got a plan. Obviously, he's overwritten that much. So
Yeah.
he's obviously got a plan going on. But,
I probably, speaking from a filmic point, I probably would. But then, like as a film,
this is opening a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
How much is these 4 new 4 films? Well, let's just say the next film then, Avatar 2. Is Avatar 2 going to be as successful as Avatar 1?
No.
Is it going to be 75% successful as Avatar 1?
Well, he's waited too long. Like, when did Avatar 1 come out? 2009?
Yeah, a while ago.
So there's a lot of films that have waited X amount of years for sequels. Like, what was it? The Godfather was like 12 years or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then that's The Godfather. It's as long as it's an amazing film that you want, then you're willing to wait for it. Finding Dory, The Incredibles. You're willing to wait that X amount of time. But as you said, Avatar.
Finding Dory is a really good example of if you can find that story that's actually there that would be worth doing and make it well.
With
and
similar
and it's doing
characters.
gangbusters in America right now. You know, it's doing really, really well. So
it's a great story, and it's unneeded, but they made it work.
Can make it work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Joss Whedon wants to make a Black Widow movie.
Yes.
And also
Next
Larson.
topic. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough. And also Brie Larson got announced as Captain Marvel.
Next question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Hands
Cool.
down, yes.
Watch. Any comments on that?
Yes.
Cool.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Joss Whedon, and I think we're overdue a Black Widow movie because she's essentially been in every Marvel film.
So would it be
besides her
still
own.
with
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson and
Yeah, she'd still be the character.
And Captain Marvel. I think Brie Larson's a
Consistent.
fantastic actress.
Mhm.
She's a lovely individual. The critical reception she's received for it has been outstanding, which I'm really happy for.
So linking into that, I guess, Comic-Con, because that's where it was announced that Brie Larson kind of got announced as Captain Marvel. I don't really talk about what was shown or the films or anything like that, but one thing I find interesting about Comic-Con is what comes out of Comic-Con in terms of sort of what is shown there and what is released to the public afterwards. So say, for example, you look at the 2 different ways that it's been done with the 2 different major franchises with Marvel and DC. So with Marvel, I think they did a new trailer of Doctor Strange, and that got released because that's the next film coming out for them. But they also showed Guardians of the Galaxy footage, like some pretty far along by the sounds of it, Guardians of the Galaxy footage, but they haven't released that to the public. Compared to DC, where everything that they showed they released to the public. And the reason why this got in my head was the fact that, do you remember Tron Legacy? It actually got announced at Comic-Con, and they showed this footage at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Then nothing was heard for like a year.
Yeah.
And then they did the same thing again at the next year and released the footage to the public at that point, and then it got a massive response and everything. Should things be released? Should everything be released that's shown at Comic-Con, or should some things be kept behind closed doors for fans? For example, with the Guardians of the Galaxy footage, that by the sounds of it was quite far along, and would that be good to get released versus the Justice League footage that got released, which seemed to be very early on and got released, and it just seems to be. I don't know. Personally, I didn't receive that very well compared to maybe the Wonder Woman footage got released.
Right.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think if they show something, they should just here it is, internet. Otherwise, you'll get a shaky cam footage.
Yeah. Well, it's going to get spoiled anyway. But then they're making it. The people at Comic-Con are then paying for the privilege of doing that. But then again, you're restricting Little Jimmy because Little Jimmy can't spend. Well, fuck Little Jimmy. Me. I can't. I can't afford a plane ticket to San Diego plus entrance into Comic-Con plus the $600 I'd probably spend on shit that I don't need, plus waiting in the queue for Hall H. I can't afford that. The fact that it's then restricting me from that it sucks. But then that's because I know about it. Like, we're the kind of individuals that read film blogs, that look at film news. So we know that the Guardians of the Galaxy footage was released and we can't get to see it. If I didn't look at those film blogs, I probably wouldn't know about it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to distinguish it that way.
It wouldn't make a difference, like years past, maybe 10 years past, where that massive interconnected world didn't exist as much as it does now, where 2 seconds after it happened, somebody tweets saying, "Oh my God, Guardians of the Galaxy footage at Comic-Con. They showed this talking planet." You know,
I think if it goes it links to the digital early release. So I think perhaps they should do like that. So if you pay for Comic-Con, yes, you get to see all these amazing things, but then release it to the public a week, 2 weeks later. As you touched upon the Justice League thing, I was heavily impressed with the Justice League footage because it kind of Batman is like one of my all-time favorite heroes, and the Flash has very recently become it has shot up there as well. So I'm very interested to see how the new portrayals and stuff. So the fact that they released it and they did Batman v Superman was kind of in answer to Man of Steel. So a lot of Batman v Superman was like, oh, we've included this in answer to because you didn't like this. And yes, the Justice League footage was essentially that again. It was like, oh look, it can be funny, it can be good, it can be great. But then it did fill me with confidence. So I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad I'm not just hearing it. Because if I saw random film blog tweet about it, then I'd probably still be in my Batman v Superman mindset where it's like, I don't really care about it. But now, because they showed me a minute of unfinished footage, I am again excited.
Okay.
So I think going back to the original question, it is, yes, it should. People are paying for the privilege of seeing this shit and seeing the actors and everything early. But then I do think it should be released a couple of weeks after, just because then it does build up the hype. Like look at how much hype No Man's Sky has, and that was because it was announced 2-3 E3s ago.
Yeah.
And
I think that's waited a little bit too long to come out though, personally.
Yeah.
But
well, they had a 3-year battle with Sky.
Oh, for the name.
let's not talk about that because
Inclusion of Sky,
that
which
was
was
That's
ridiculous.
gonna get
that was just
It's gonna be a lot of rage.
What do you think, Woj? What do you think? Do you think that when they show this stuff, like for example, the Guardians footage that they showed at Comic-Con, they said that actually they showed quite a lot, probably on the same amount as Justice League. You know, they showed scenes with mini little Groot, his little little stuff. Like, do you want to see that?
Yeah.
You like to see that?
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
I know you're not big on trailers, but
Yeah.
but then it's far enough off.
But then we've got with trailers, we've got to a point where, like Star Trek Beyond, the first 2 trailers were brilliant, but then the international trailer and the TV spots, Simon Pegg came out and said, "Do not watch these because they reveal a big spoiler in the film." So I think trailers need to be what they were 20-30 years ago, where they're just...
But you don't see them on
they're
trailers
teasing.
20-30 years ago were shit.
Brilliant recent example, 10 Cloverfield Lane. That trailer, brilliant.
You didn't know anything
Fuck
about
all
it.
about the film, but it was a well done film, and the whole point behind that trailer was we're not going to reveal anything.
Yeah.
You can't do that with every film, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't do that type of.
Well,
trailer with
if
every film.
you're creative, then yes, you can. But it's you. I mean,
I think this goes back to you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
You can have the people who just would say a teaser's a teaser, keep it as a teaser.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that because you go, oh, I'm alerted to the fact that this film's going to come out and it's going to be exciting, but it's not too much.
So you're actually okay with that footage not getting released, then I guess. You're quite happy to wait for a teaser.
I'm
to come
absolutely happy for a teaser or watch part of a trailer. You know, I mean, you know how I feel about trailers. I feel that trailers, if it's a comedy film, the main 10 jokes of that comedy film are in that trailer. You've basically seen them, laughed at them once before, or however many times you see the trailer.
Yeah, if you go to the cinema on a weekly basis, you're going to see that
all the time.
trailer every week for 6 months.
And then you go, what the fuck is the point in watching this film? I'll go and watch it, because I'm going to watch it, because that's what we do, but you go, lol, seen that before.
Yeah.
You know, I've laughed at that before. And, you know, trailers, if it's a horror film, you go, please don't show me the main gist of this horror film. Make it a mystery. Make the main new dinosaur in Jurassic World a mystery. Don't show it. I can't remember really because I don't watch trailers.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to spoil it for myself.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason they're called spoilers.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to see the alien in Cloverfield. You don't want to see things that you want to surprise yourself with in the actual film when you're immersed in it and you're feeling it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to see bits and pieces here and there because a lot of the time you forget it unless it's groundbreaking. You go, can't remember what the fuck I saw in that trailer. You know, I'll watch half a trailer for a film and I'll go, it's alright, it's coming out in a year. I won't have remembered what happened.
Well, you ask me, don't you? You say to me, when's the film coming out? And if it's 6 months, 9 months,
I go,
you're like, that's fine, I'll watch it. Because I'll forget about it by the time I do it. Yeah. But if it's coming out, within the next couple of months or something, you don't want to watch it because you don't want to sort of be reminded yourself. Whereas me personally, I love trailers. I'll watch them over and over again. Yeah. But
it's like.
I think as long
like you
as
said,
the
different things, different people, isn't it?
Different strokes for different.
Yeah, I think as long as the trailers, as you said, don't reveal too much, like the Cloverfield. Like,
there's a habit at the moment of just putting everything in, just in case we don't get the box office numbers that we want. We've got to attract all kinds of audience, and it's like, well, no, people are going to watch it if they want to go watch it.
Like one of the worst things that happened to me recently for film-wise was I went to see Kung Fu Panda 3. And because obviously it's a kids' film, the trailers beforehand, like the adverts, were for toys, were for kids' things. One of the adverts before Kung Fu Panda 3 was for the toy line for Kung Fu Panda 3. Within that advert, it showed the final boss fight. And I knew, because I'm a 25-year-old person, I knew that was the final boss fight because it was Poe doing like this essentially cool ass Kamehameha wave thing, and I was like, well, I've seen the past two films. He doesn't know how to do that. He's going to spend this entire the film I just paid to see. He's going to spend the next hour and a half doing that move, and I've just seen him do it before the fucking film has started. So that really pissed me off. So I think it needs the people making the trailers need more common sense than to spoil it, but need to make it a teaser. I mean, just
I think if it's a massive film, there are like hush hush, keep this a secret. To a point where you're kind of annoyed because you can't see anything. There are extremes. There are, why the fuck can I see anything to do with this film or this game? It's so under wraps that it's absurd, and they've done so well to keep it a secret. And then there's let's make a Hobbit trailer and we'll put them tumbling around in things, and then let's put this in it and this in it and this, and like you go, there was I don't know what film it was, but there was a trailer I saw recently where it was like boom 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 for every scene, and you went, well, I don't need to watch that. I've practically seen the film. And I don't think there's any need of it.
The funny thing about that is that sometimes,
but not the whole meal.
Sometimes with those trailers that you watch where you're like, oh my god, I've seen the whole film. Actually, the film has this element to it that you didn't see any of in the trailers. Well, the perfect example would be Toy Story 3. The whole bit about the junkyard is completely absent from any of the trailers. I thought I knew exactly what that film was when I went in. I had no idea it was going down that route.
A lot of trailers as well, because the trailers are released whilst the film is still being made.
Yes.
So a lot of the times there will be stuff that isn't included in the final cut. But then if you're clever and purposely go out your way to trick the audience...
Cabin in the Woods. Trailer for Cabin in the Woods. Obviously, we were working in the cinema at the time. I know we saw it a lot, and you still couldn't put your finger on what the hell it was that was gonna happen. Like literally, it was intriguing.
Well, the trailer was essentially the first 10 minutes of the film, wasn't it? Or
it was obviously it was like bits and bobs, but I can't remember it actually revealing anything to do with what it was, and it was phenomenal. I remember watching Cabin in the Woods and thinking, I've got you.
That was a great
I've got you figured out. And then it full 360, and then you're just in awe. And then I was going, like, Claire, you really need to watch this. Or so you really need to watch this. Like, literally watch it. Come watch it with me. and I want to sit and I want to watch
Yeah.
your face change
Yeah.
because when you realise what's going on.
I like things like that. So an example of the complete opposite of that, a film that's out recently, The Secret Life of Pets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do not want to watch that because the first trailer, the teaser trailer, was hilarious. I thought it was really good. It just showed like all the dogs doing different things, and then right at the end, the poodle doing headbang
Yeah.
screaming. Hilarious. I thought that was brilliant. The next trailer, I watched the trailer and I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen with this film. It's the two dogs. They're going to spar the entire time. They're going to get into wacky situations. By the end, they're going to love each other. That's how it's going to end.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not want to see that film.
It's a kids' film.
Yeah, but you say that. Finding Dory. I was crying within 6 minutes of that film.
Yeah, man.
I was crying
right.
within 8 minutes of that film.
No, I'm sorry. It's Finding Dory though. You know what's going to happen in that film.
Yeah, but
and
it's a kids'
spoilers.
film.
She finds her parents. Okay.
But it's a kids' film. But then
Yeah.
it does. Whereas, like Life of Pets, that's not going to have that effect on me.
No,
Because that
exactly.
is.
It's
I think
a standalone.
you
isn't it? It's
can
not-
have
no link
kids
to
films
anything.
which are kids films, but then you can have kids films which also appeal to an adult audience.
Mm.
Like pretty much anything by Disney Pixar. Well, 90% of what Disney Pixar do is there's look, isn't this funny because it's got a blue fish? Whereas then Mummy and Daddy are crying because it's Little Dory with
They get in the
I'm not
field.
sure it's a very lot, and it's like, and it's. It shows the mark of a good film that it's a kids film, but then the parents want to go see it.
The best kind of film is the one where, and I remember being the kid where my mother's pissing herself laughing, and you're going, "Why are you laughing?
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?" And it's because there's been that slightly dodgy sexual joke, or there's been that slightly bit of adult at that adult level that you just don't realise when you're not that age.
Yeah.
And I think and obviously now we're coming into into our adult life, and we realise now. We get those jokes.
we get that second-hand enjoyment then.
Yeah.
So then, like
we enjoy it at the base level, and we enjoy it.
Like I was 5, you were 6, and you were probably 8 when Toy Story first came out. So we're like, oh, toys, this is brilliant, yeah. And then obviously, the parents were like, oh, this is quite dark, this is hilarious because it's adult or whatever. And then now being 20 years later, I can enjoy it from that perspective as well. Whereas, say I watch Minions now, or say I was a 5-year-old watching Minions now. Oh look, he says banana. That's all he can say, banana. And then me in 20 years' time, I'm watching it, just going, this is me now trying to fucking watch Minions. I can't because I'm like,
I have not even watched it.
No, I haven't watched Despicable Me 2 because
that's the thing. Despicable Me. Despicable Me was awesome.
Brilliant film.
Yeah.
Steve Carell, fucking.
And they clicked and they went, Minions are popular.
Yeah.
Let's go crazy.
The kids love the Minions. Let's do another film focus on the Minions. Do a Minions spin-off.
And then a little Minion
stuff.
short before the next film that you watch.
Yeah.
And that's,
but Finding Dory, I'm trying to think of an example of something at an adult level. And as soon as she mentioned mummies and daddies in the school class, I was like,
hilarious.
Yes, that's amazing. Like I knew which route she was going to go down. I was going to go, oh my god, that's so good. Like it's just clever.
Yeah. I went to see it on the day it came out. So it was me, Lucy, my girlfriend, and just a room of kids.
Like us today, basically.
And like and it was on that scene. Like we were absolutely wetting ourselves. But obviously the kids had no idea.
Yeah.
And then even even the after the credits. Did you stay for after the credits?
No, we didn't actually.
You didn't stay for after the credits.
No.
There's an after the credits scene which is brilliant.
We stayed for when
We stayed
the
quite a
the
long
octopus
while.
was doing all of his stuff.
No, there's
And
an
then
after the credits scene.
Question: has it got Jacques and Thingy in it?
Oh!
Because she noticed them in the credits and she was like, "Why are they in the credits?"
Why is Willem Dafoe and Jacques and Ed Flo?
Yeah.
Why are they in the credits? They weren't in the film. And he said, well, maybe it's because
There's a scene right at the start of the first film, and in my head I was like, "Is there some legal thing where they have to put them in the credits?
Oh.
They're at the end." Okay.
Do you want me to tell you?
Go on. We're not going to watch it again.
So it's back. It starts with the two seals. So Idris Elba
Idris
and
Elba,
Dominic West.
Yeah.
And then you see Gerald pop up.
Oh, I love him.
And then Gerald comes up and they're like, off. And as they're doing that, the bags
bags
roll into shot,
yeah.
and they're all covered in algae, except for Jacques, because obviously he's a cleaning shrimp. And then they all manage to clean it up, and it's like, oh my god, guys, where the hell are we? And then they get scooped up and taken to the rescue centre, and that's how it ends. But it's such a fantastic callback because it's. But like the little kids, they're not gonna give
They've
a
been
shit about
bobbing
that.
around for a year.
Yeah.
Basically.
In their own filth, and
Yeah.
it's so. But then again, we were watching it, and we were like, oh, this is amazing. When you see a 4-year-old kid, they're not gonna care.
Yeah.
Like, they might recognise it from
From
the previous
first
one.
Mm.
But it probably hasn't been that long since they saw the first one.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
Finding
Well, the question
Nemo
was
is still
yeah.
new for a 6-year-old.
Finding Nemo is the best-selling DVD ever
All
in
time?
the UK.
Yeah.
Ever. Anyway,
How long have we been going actually?
Yeah, we've been going a while. We'll do a couple more more things.
I need to urinate at some point. So,
so Nintendo NX.
Yes.
There was a big rumor / leak / Eurogamer basically did an article where they described what they believed the NX to be, the Nintendo's next console, and the what was described was basically an almost sort of 3DS-esque portable device, not necessarily with the 2 screens and everything, but a portable device that docks at your TV, so wherever your PlayStation or whatever is situated. And out of the sides, there's 2 controllers that actually sort of dock into it. And from that, then you can then take it on the go, but you can also keep it.
So like the Wii U gamepad, but more mobile.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and it's sort of and there's no mention of this, but it would be interesting to know whether maybe the docking station has some more horsepower in it. So when you put the portable thing in, it has more power to it rather than just the portable one.
So it's more of a base unit rather than.
Yeah, so rather than just sort of like plugging your 3DS into the TV and it displaying up there, it's got something more to it.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a good direction for Nintendo to go in with their next console? I mean,
well, portables all the rage, isn't it?
Well, yeah, Nintendo.
Mobile's all the rage.
Yeah.
But
But Nintendo haven't made a good console since the GameCube. Like they've made like the Wii.
I think the Wii would like to disagree with you on that because the Wii was printed money.
Yes, the Wii was.
because of the people who were it was accessible to.
Yeah, the Wii was a good selling console. It wasn't
kids
a good console.
And teenagers and people in their 20s and mothers who wanted to lose weight, who wanted to use the Wii Fitness. You know, that was its niche.
Yeah.
Was the.
I don't think I can agree with you though, Tom.
Console.
I don't think I can agree with you in you saying it's not a good console because it.
Where do you have a Wii?
No.
Have you ever had a Wii?
No.
Yeah.
I had a Wii.
I had a Wii.
And it's.
I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying. I'm not big. I don't play many Nintendo games and everything, but I can't agree with the fact that you say it's not a good console because it was doing something that the other 2 consoles at that point in time weren't doing. They'd gone for HD. They'd gone for trying to get people into like this. Oh, next generation is actually it's HD. It's all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they were going, no, actually, what we're going to do, we're going to stay at this point. We're going to keep our hardware kind of okay, but we're going to change the input method.
Yeah.
The input method that has been tried and tested since the original NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System of the gamepad, the game controller, and they were like, we're going to change that. And granted, okay, to begin with, it was just like flail your arm anyway. But then they had the Motion Plus, which they put in there, which actually made it work. And it did change everything. And that's the reason why it sold so much, is because it really did bring something new to the table.
But then it was.
Does this bring something new to the table? This portable docking
no, because
controls
it's the Wii U again.
Maybe if they didn't concentrate on trying to up their game and bring something completely new out, maybe if they focused on, because how old is the Nintendo Wii now? I can't even remember when it came out.
I got
this
it
is like early 2000s.
No, I got it when I was in 6th form, so 2006.
So halfway.
Yeah.
So why not 10 years later use the technology we have now to improve?
Well, that's what VR is now.
The Wii.
That's what VR is now. Yeah,
but it's
changed completely. What I'm saying is that with this portable console docking thing they've got going on, is that a good step for them for the future, or is that them just being silly again by trying to do another Wii U?
I think it's Nintendo, since the Wii, they've tried to make a category of game console of their own. Like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, they're interchangeable. They're like, yes, one's better than the other, like graphically or whatever.
They're happy to stick to what they know.
But
they
they're
do pretty much the same thing.
yeah, it's
They do the
essentially
same thing.
it's essentially the same console just made by different people.
Yeah.
The Nintendo, since the Wii, they've tried to be in their own category. The unfortunate thing is that because the Xbox and Sony category is so large that they're not. Then
Do they need to make a PlayStation 4/Xbox One then? Do they need to make a normal console? Do they need to go back to that?
Back to when they used to
I
do
think-
it well.
yeah, I think they
Do
should because
do they need to?
they
Could they survive it against the PS4 or the Xbox? Say, for example, this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
And they come out with a box that is as powerful as the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, or
But
maybe
with-
more
with-
powerful. And it's got a normal controller. It's got no fancy gimmicks on it.
But with
Can they compete?
with Nintendo exclusives, yes, because Nintendo has built up a fan base with Mario, with Zelda, with Metroid, with Kirby, with Yoshi. So even if, like, the only reason I bought a Wii U was for the fucking Zelda game, which never came out.
It's now going to be on Nintendo NX.
I ended up getting the only game I ended up owning for my Wii U was Wind Waker HD, which I owned for the GameCube. So I played it already. Yes, it was pretty. Yes, it was updated and everything was fine. But that was the game. It was the gamepad, so I enjoyed it because of that. And I wasn't flailing my arms around and trying to that was the bane of playing my copy of Twilight Princess because I got the Wii version, or Skyward Sword, which I ended up not playing, was because it was the Wii controllers, and I don't want to do that. I'm kind of a traditional game player, so I like a controller. So that's why I'm saying I don't think the Wii is.
So you're not going to try the
is a good
Vive
console.
and the PlayStation VR then?
Well, I'll play. That's a different
It
thing
is
now.
different.
Oh, but you're a traditional gamer. You don't like
can
these
still sit down-
newfangled things.
That
I
is-
don't
okay.
like change.
Admittedly,
It's either controller or full body, not just arm work. Basically.
I think the Wii was hyped up for what it like. I was so excited for the Wii came out. I was on the waiting list. I was queuing outside the door to get it and stuff, and it didn't live up to its potential because it was playing against the heavy hitters. I think Nintendo either should jump into the ring, so make the NX like a PS4 but for Nintendo exclusives. Like they could pull a Ubisoft and churn out 2 Zelda games a year, and they would make gajillions, or just get rid of consoles entirely and focus on what they're good on, which is handhelds.
I was gonna say. I mean, Nintendo at this point with the Wii was great. It printed them loads of money and they could survive for so many years. The good thing it bloody did because they didn't. They needed that. They would have gone not too good. The Wii U, they didn't differentiate enough from the Wii, and people thought it was an add-on or something. Whatever. But they continue to make consoles, and they're sort of like people have because this console is so different. Third parties have completely stayed away from, not completely, but mostly stayed away from these consoles.
Yes.
And the only things they've got are the first party exclusives, the real tentpole games, and they're making 2, 3 max of them a year.
Yeah.
Should they just not make consoles anymore? Should they just say,
I think
we'll focus on because all the focus that they're putting on making consoles, what if they diverted those people to actually making their franchises and they just put them out on the Xbox and the PlayStation 4?
I think.
Well, that's what they're kind of doing. That's what Sega's doing with Sonic now, isn't it? Because Sonic's getting, 75 or 80? No, not 75 years. 25 years.
Yeah, he's got his anniversary coming up,
and Sonic is now appearing in Wave 2 of Lego Dimensions.
Yeah.
So that's gonna it doesn't it mark
Do
out the
you
first
think
time
Nintendo's
Sonic's
going to go the way of Sega then? Because Sega was a big player back in the day. Are they going to hit a point where they've come out, or have they got too many franchises to keep them alive? Because at the moment they're put all their chips on the table towards Zelda at the moment, because that's all they like. I mean, what has come out this year for Nintendo?
Well, I don't know, but then
Not
you got games like this. But I think these are all last year. But you got like Yoshi's Yarn World and Kirby.
Are those handheld ones though?
No, they were Wii U.
Oh, okay.
Well, is what Sega's doing is focusing on the characters that they've already developed. I mean, what was their last main console? The Dreamcast.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I mean,
that was where he
are they
that's where he
going?
sank them,
That's
yeah.
the thing. I mean, that's the last thing I can remember Sega doing was the Dreamcast. Maybe they're going, we're not going to put all our funds into focusing on a console.
Well, they couldn't after that.
Maybe
Yeah,
we're going to bring back a well-loved character. Maybe that's
not
what
bring
Nintendo
back. He's
needs
been
to.
he's been struggling to stay alive.
Yeah.
So
But
poor Sonic, he's been put through so much.
Yeah.
But with regards to Nintendo, maybe stick to what you know then. Like the fact that I am pissing my pants for this, nostalgia trip, the NES
Oh,
that's
yeah,
going to come back out with the built-in
But then that's the thing.
games.
So you don't see Sony or Xbox doing that.
Mm.
You don't see, like obviously they haven't had the longevity.
Xbox
Well, the
One
Crash-
Rare Collection.
And
Oh,
the
what?
fact that Crash Bandicoot's going to be remastered and
Yeah, but
come
this
back out.
is individual studios though.
Yeah.
This whereas the mini NES is Nintendo bringing it out.
Mm.
Yes.
It's them actually doing it.
I mean, they could do that with an N64 as well.
That's what I was thinking.
I'd be very happy
If they did a
decided to
mini
do that.
N64 with GoldenEye,
Yeah.
with Ocarina of
Mario
Time.
Kart.
Oh, okay, there we go. So Ocarina of Time was on N64, and that was where most people played it, and that was a Zelda game.
They
so
could do that.
Fuck making it like exclusive. Just
Like, don't try and make something new and amazing that could flop.
Yeah.
If you want to stick to what you know, because they could make a fuck ton of money just by bringing back what they know.
Could they be
NES and the 64.
Could they be making more money by focusing on making more games? So instead of making sort of 2 or 3 major games a year, instead they switch to making 5 major games a year. They don't focus on consoles anymore. They forget about that. They let the other guys just make the innovations there, and then they just reap the benefits of not having to do that.
Jump on
Because
that
how much R&D and money goes into making a console?
well, that's the thing.
Because I would imagine that as soon as they finish one, they start working on the next
How
one.
to make it better, yeah.
I suppose you got to weigh up how much it costs to make the console and how much they'll make back from the console compared to how much. Like I'm guessing,
Well, they don't.
the games. They don't.
PlayStation and Xbox, at least, they don't make any money on the consoles.
No.
They're sold at cost or at a loss, and they make money back on the licensing of the games and everything. I know Nintendo have never done that. They've always made a profit on the consoles, even if it's a small one. But it makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you think of sort of, what they could be.
What's their best direction, really?
Do you think it would be better for them as a Nintendo fan, as somebody who likes Zelda, who likes those games, if you could have more of them a year, but not have a Nintendo console to play them on?
I think I'd be fine with that. Again, if they're good. Like I don't want to go down the Ubisoft route where they're fucking churning out Assassin's Creed every week.
Yeah.
Because I've got to a point now. I used to love Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed 1,
It's good it's taking a break this year.
Yes,
I think.
so I'm happy with
I
that.
think they needed to.
But so if they released a Zelda every year, every 2 years, but it was on the PlayStation, that's fine because I'm playing Zelda. As I said, the only reason I bought a Wii U.
Well, even every 3 years. I mean, when was the last Zelda after the
one's
coming out now?
Skyward Sword was. I bought it on the Wii, so it was before the Wii U. So 2010 to 11, 12, whatever.
Yeah. And the next one's not coming out until next year, so 2017. So there's a big gap there.
So even that. But the only reason I owned a Wii U was for that game, but I never played it, so it was a waste of money, and I ended up selling it. Even so, I'm sacrificing playing the next Zelda game, playing the next Smash Brothers game, playing all of those, which I've loved because I owned the GameCube and I owned the SNES. People I knew owned the N64 and stuff. So I'm sacrificing playing those franchises because I can't be fucked with the console. Whereas with a PS4, if they released it, then I would subscribe to it.
Yeah. I do have more stuff, but I think we've talked loads about it.
Yeah.
So let's finish with a little game, I guess.
How much longer can Tom hold his bladder?
Yeah. It can be quick. It's like basically it's the desert island.
Okay.
So you've got you're going to be on desert island, but you can bring 3 pieces of geek media. I call it. I don't know what you want to call it. To this desert island, and yes, you will have all technology, power, etc. You need to be able to view this media no matter what.
Okay.
So basically, the idea is that if you could take a film, a book, a game, maybe even a board game, I don't know,
Yeah.
but something along with you, what would be like the 3 things that you want to take, do you think?
What?
I love how you like I got time to think. Why don't you go first?
Box of Lego.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's cool. That's a good one.
Because that would be fucking hours.
That's a
Hours
that's a
of
good one.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Because you can make like Lego board games out of that, and
Do whatever you want.
yeah,
Like a little shelter.
like a boat. Because they
Go
fucking
down.
watertight. When you
Yeah.
squeeze them together, you get a big grey slab underneath and make a boat out of that. You're set for life.
The danger for the teeth.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, a box of Lego. Regardless of size of box, I'd have some entertainment out of that. What else? I'd say I'd take a book, but I don't know which book I'd take, to be honest.
Would you choose something that you love, or would you choose something that you haven't read yet?
Something that I loved.
Okay.
Something that was familiar to me.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to be on my own on Roald Dahl Treasury, there you go, I've got that. That's one book. All the Roald Dahl stories.
Yeah.
Probably something edible, to be honest.
No, it's not like
Yeah.
just because it's a desert island
There is food available.
doesn't mean there's no sustenance available,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
books are
I'll go down to the
but-
Pizza Express on the corner.
this is just to keep you entertained, I guess. I mean, would you take a film with you or a video game or like
Box of Lego and a book. Video game wise, what would I take with me?
See,
I'd probably take GTA.
Yeah.
Because the amount of entertainment I can get out of that, because you can make it into different games.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah, as well.
It's not one specific genre of game. You can do whatever you want. The world is open enough that you can make it what you want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I've got internet connection, I can stream it on. So.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's part of it. Yeah.
That's it then. With it.
Yeah.
That's a good GTA is a good shout actually.
Yeah.
See, I would choose something like, obviously, having not played it because it's not out yet. I would choose something like No Man's Sky because it's unlimited possibilities. So if I was trapped on a desert island for,
But what about
Universe.
Spore? Spore's unlimited
Well, yeah,
possibilities.
that's the if No Man's Sky turns out to be what they've promised, then that will be fantastic. And I like open-ended games like that. I don't like games like, well, I mean, I love Skyrim, but then the whole point behind Skyrim was that it can never be completed.
Mhm.
Yes, there's a story mode, but then there will always be missions. I don't like that because they're just putting fodder in so that you constantly play it. With No Man's Sky, because it's generated in the mathematical equation that they're probably getting to over that's being used is so complex, is that it can randomly generate everything. So it's not as if you're going in Skyrim, you're going to Mrs. Beavis and she's going, oh, you've got to kill these 10 wolves, and you're like, right, okay, and then you're going across the country to Jarl, and Jarl's going, oh, you've got to kill these 10 bandits. When it boils down to it, it's the same thing. Whereas No Man's Sky, you could go to a planet that's made entirely of ocean, you could go to a planet that's made entirely of fire bar one island. I think that just to kill time. Well, the idea I have of No Man's Sky,
Mhm.
whether it turns out to be that or not. As for book,
You don't have to pick like.
No, you don't
No,
have
no,
to.
It can be.
Anything.
You could have 3 games if you wanted to.
yeah. But then I think if you have nothing to do, then you probably complete a game quite quickly. Same with a book, really. But then, but there's books I'd want to read again, like Hitchhikers, because I've read that about like the entire series. I've read that about 5 times and still love it. Again, as long as it's good.
You don't mind as long as it's
Yeah.
good.
I think that should be the
Yeah.
name of the podcast.
As long as it's good.
I sold myself to James Cameron. I think that's kind of
Yeah. Haven't you got? Was that 2 things you picked? So the Hitchhiker's Guide.
No Man's Sky and Hitchhikers. Yeah.
So what's the one?
What would it would probably have to be, I don't know, like a TV series or music or like I'd probably have to be music for more culture, because if I'm trapped in a desert island, I do like my music. But then I would probably have to choose like something like the complete works of Beethoven, or it couldn't be fucking McFly or All Star by Smash Mouth. It would have to be something that would like elicit an emotive response. Like there's only so many times you can listen to Stargirl by McFly. Like I love it, I love McFly, but I'm not gonna listen to their album to the end of time. Whereas you put on Beethoven, you could probably listen to that song and receive different emotional responses. Like it's not Beethoven. Who does the planets? The Planet Suite.
Is it Handel?
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean.
Whoever does the Planet Suites. Like I was in love with the song for Mars since I was about 9 because it enlisted an emotional response with it.
I have no
It's
idea
so
what you're talking about right now.
You would know it. It's been used. Ba, 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 dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
dun, dun,
I think
Not
Ba.
League of Gentlemen.
I think I know.
You would know it if you heard it because it's been used in
Yeah.
popular culture and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But
Is it Holst? Begin with a H.
I think Holst might be.
I don't know, it's someone like that. Yeah, Google it.
Yeah. But that would be some like your third one. You'd have some kind of music
some classical kind of music. The Planet Suite.
I might be completely wrong.
Holst, yes, well done.
Oh!
Gustav Holst.
Cool. I would. I don't know if this is like cheating but you picked like Sweet, so I guess.
I'll go with a collection.
I'll go
the
with
complete
it.
works
Yeah,
of.
I'll go with this. So I'll be like, I'd have the Lost TV series.
Yeah.
Because I freaking love Lost.
Obviously.
And you could learn how to escape a desert island.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that secondary thing there.
I'll jump through the time rift. It'll be
Yeah.
fine. I'll find
Yeah.
the Dharma station.
So Lost would be definitely one for me. I love Lost. The Bioshock collection, because that is now a collection actually.
Yes.
It's coming out, isn't it?
September.
And just trying to think of the third one that I have. I can't even.
Would you have a music or book, or like are you a big reader? Or?
I'm not a big reader, no. But I'm just looking over there on the bookshelf actually. Maybe like the Harry Potter collection.
Right.
Just because that's one that I grew up with and it's actually really enjoyable. and
That's
stuff,
more
so.
than 3 things though.
No, because these are collections.
Collections.
The collections. There are 3 collections there.
Yeah.
There's the Lost collection, you got the Bioshock collection, and the Harry Potter collection. Yeah, cool. But that's what I.
You'd be done for life then.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's.
I'll stay on this island.
It's something. I mean, maybe actually, I haven't read them yet. Maybe I should pick like the Game of Thrones collection or something. Because that's
hefty books. There's a knock on your door.
There is a knock on my door.
Come on, knock on my door.